welcome to Fit as a Fanny, which is our women's health and fitness podcast. I'm Sam.
I'm Gemma.
Hi.
Lost on taking a mouthful.
So we are actually both cousins. So my dad, her mum are brother and sister, and it's actually quite interesting that we've ended up in not only the same industry, but the exact same area.
Specialty.
And the exact same specialty, which is pre and postnatal and women's health. So it's quite interesting that we've actually ended up in exactly the same position.
Yeah.
Because we've obviously got to it in very different ways.
Yes. So without going, too much into it just yet, you will get the full insight, don't worry. But I lived in Australia for 5 years and did all of my education and stuff over there. And originally I was going to be a doctor, very nerdy. And then I actually moved back to the UK to do an anatomy degree. And so we didn't see each other for, 5-6 years or whatever. Came back and did an anatomy degree.
Yeah,
that word. That word. And when I ended up applying to med over here, I didn't get in and it broke me. And I thought, how can I help people in a different way? And actually I was an all-star cheerleader at the time and I was already really into fitness, maybe a little bit too much, definitely a little bit too much into fitness. And in the end, I just fell into PT. And I was the only female trainer at the gym that I worked at the time, which then meant actually, to go into pre and postnatal would be a really good fit, because it's a really good niche market that I can get into, and often women feel, I don't know about you, but women are a lot more comfortable talking about
to another woman,
fannies and vaginas and things to another woman than they are a man. And I also found that I hated training men on a one-to-one basis. Because they just don't tell you anything. You'll say, how's that? Fine. How's that? Fine. And the amount of men that I've made be sick is a little bit ridiculous because they just won't tell you when they're struggling.
Yeah.
But,
no, I do get. I get what you're saying there.
Yeah,
that does happen quite a bit.
It does. So then I did my pre and post, and then how does anyone get into these things? You sort of just find something that you're good at and
continue
doing it, which is pretty much what I did. I did all my pre and post. And then followed along the family lines. So I do a lot with family fitness, because obviously, without getting too deep too soon, the world is just getting fatter. 1 in 4 kids are obese. And the more you can do throughout their lives, as role models, as parents and things, and even research shows that if you exercise during pregnancy, your kids are less likely to have weight issues as they get older. Yeah. So the more stuff we can do sooner rather than later, the less likely the world is to get fatter, really. And I think as women, we respond well to women. We've also been through a lot as women. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we can connect with women on. So completely different path. I did PT first, I did pre and postnatal first, and I focused more on the group exercise, the classes. I was very much a gym-based person, whereas you started completely the opposite way around.
100%. So for a really long time, I actually wanted to be a marine biologist.
Love it.
And I was toying with the idea whether that's something I really wanted to do when I started college, so at 16.
It's a lot of hair washing though, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I figured out I had to be inside the lab and start cutting fish open, wasn't for me.
No, I'm alright on that one.
What I really wanted to be was a dolphin trainer.
I see that.
That's what I really wanted to do.
Let's be honest.
I just wanted to scuba dive and swim with the sharks and the dolphins. That's what I really wanted to do, but realised that being a marine biologist wasn't actually going to give me that kind of thing. So I've always been very active, grown up in a very active family, danced from being 4, been a martial artist since being 9, done every sort of outdoor sort of sport you could probably dare to dream about or think about. And so I ended up doing I did dance, sport, psychology, biology and German at college. So I took 5 A-levels. Ended up dropping 2 of them. And in my second year, I ended up with double pneumonia. It was a whole drama, nearly died. We digress.
We digress.
Ended up then dropping those 2 and doing sport, dance and psychology, and ended up doing a dance degree. So my primary way into the fitness industry realistically was actually as a dance teacher. So was teaching dance for a few years and actually got bored of not learning.
I like it.
So I like to learn. I'm always on a course. Love a course.
Always.
So ended up then, once I'd done my degree, I was working within the dance industry, teaching classes, sort of all over the Northwest. Had started to build my own business in dance and martial arts, and then decided I wanted to go and do a sports massage degree, and then that's how I ended up really in the health and fitness industry, as to where I am now. So did my sports massage qualification, that moved into pregnancy massage, was already working with children and adults within the dance and martial arts industry or sector, and was sick to death of seeing PTs train pregnant and postnatal women in all the wrong ways.
All the wrong ways.
So, yeah.
All the wrong ways.
So I used to teach a lot of classes, kids classes, out of bodybuilder, family run gyms, no big commercial gyms,
No.
just really small family run gyms. And honestly, some of the stuff that I saw was, oh God, it was harrowing, to be fair. So I thought, okay, I need to do something about that. So I then went and specialised in pre and postnatal exercise, and have been now in that industry probably for the best part of like 8 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You see it though. So like obviously you were in small gyms, whereas I've been in more commercial gyms, and you would like to think that with a little bit more potential money in a bigger gym, there would be a lot more education around it.
Yeah.
And actually the amount of women, pregnant women that I see in HIIT classes, or, you know, doing crunches and things, which we will obviously get into, but there's so many things, and then having so many issues postnatally as well, because a big bodybuilder guy is, you know, trainer is putting a huge weight on their back when they've got no core in. You know, there's so much.
There is a lot to be said for knowing your niche and who your clientele are. So if somebody that wanted to be completely and utterly shredded for a bikini competition,
don't come
to me.
Don't come
because
to us.
I'm not your gal.
No, I'm not.
I'm not your gal.
I am not.
I'd love to say that I could help you get there, but I wouldn't know. I'm honestly,
no.
I'm not for you.
No.
So,
life is about balance.
100%. And then also the flip side of that, if that is your kind of clientele, you kind of have no business training pre and postnatal women.
Exactly. But you take it, you extrapolate it from what we do. You know, you go to uni and you go to a psychology lecture with someone who's a doctor in psychology. They're in that niche. You don't go to try and learn about psychology from a mathematician.
Nope.
It's the exact same here. We are specialists in, you know, pre and post, in the family area. You know, you are 100% a specialist in karate and things like that as well. We have our niches. You know, we wouldn't go anywhere else to try and learn those things, because you just wouldn't. You wouldn't go to a psychologist.
Well, you wouldn't come to me looking for judo lessons when I'm a karate instructor.
Exactly.
You'd go and find a judo dojo, or
just like you wouldn't come to me for dance because I have 2 left feet. I mean, I try, but I'm very much a.
You bring all those moves out.
Yeah, raising the roof, going shopping, rolling the dice.
Yeah,
that is my area of dance knowledge. So if you need any more, you go to a dance teacher.
Probably not going to come to you if they need to get on Strictly.
I mean, I think I'd look great on Strictly, let's be honest. Hand me a glitter spray can and I am there. I feel like I'd just get to the end just because people would feel really sorry for me.
I think that's exactly what
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress once again. As you can see, we've both come into this from very different locations, but actually we both have the exact same values towards it, exact same views towards it.
Definitely. I think that's and I think that is really interesting. We've come at this from very different pathways and different angles and different experiences, but
100%.
actually at the core of it the values are exactly the same, which I find really, really interesting.
Yeah, I do, especially when you think about, like, obviously we didn't see each other for quite a long period of time. I was in Australia for 5 years and then I was off at uni for 3. So there was probably a really big stretch of time where we didn't really see each other properly. So we weren't necessarily led by one another.
No, definitely
into those locations, because up until, God knows, up until I was 21, 22, I was all set on being a neurosurgeon. I was going to be a doctor, and then actually that didn't go to plan, and I'm 30 now, so I've been in the industry for 8 years. You've been in it a lot longer than I have, but we've still ended up at the same place. And I think that's probably because you see so many women in particular, I know, that come to you with so many stresses, so many, mums putting so much pressure on themselves to look a certain way, to be a certain thing. Social media has a huge part to play in it all. And we're there to sort of like get you in the right place at the right time to help you with that pre and post, but then throughout the rest of it as well. And it's all about mindset and how you think and how you respond. And we've definitely had challenges as people. And I think some of the best personal trainers, like I've always said, we've all got very similar qualifications at their initial period. You all go to PT school or whatever we call it, and you get this degree or whatever, this certificate that says, okay, you're a personal trainer now. But then it's actually what you do with that. And most people come to you for who you are, rather than, like I've always had trainers, you've always had trainers, and there's certain people that we will choose to work with that we wouldn't choose to work with, other trainers, because you choose the person, it's who you get on with. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty 100% sure we probably know more about our clients than their best friends do, or their families do, because we get told a hell of a lot, and we have to know it as well. We have to know when you're on your period. We have to know if you're struggling mentally. We have to know if you're injured. We have to know if you're having a rough time at home and not sleeping, because all of those things impact how we train you, and even more so in a pre and post sense, because then there's also physiological things to contend with.
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
So that's why that's one of the main reasons why we came up with doing this podcast and doing YouTube, and calling it Fit as a Fanny, because I mean there was some other ones thrown out there.
Some interesting names.
There were some interesting names, but Fit as a Fanny, because if you think about it, we're focusing on fitness from a physical and mental health point of view, a holistic point of view.
Definitely.
But then also, you think about if you're going to call someone something when they're being weak or whatever, you've got to stop being such a fanny. When actually, the fanny, the vagina, is one of the strongest muscles you could ever deal with. I mean, yours are sometimes a little bit too strong. We'll get onto that as well. You can't have too strong of a pelvic floor and too weak of a pelvic floor. There's a spectrum. But that's what I mean, like it's one of the strongest muscles in the body, and women are one of the strongest, we're often one of the strongest people that you can be as well. So we want to try and change how you see a fanny. And actually, do you know what, this week, one of my clients said to me, "Oh, stop being such a fanny." And I was like, actually, we're going to change that. We're now going to change it to stop being such a testicle. Because they are weak, they are on the outside of their body, they are very sensitive, and if you just flick one of them, they are down on their knees. So, do you know what I mean?
I mean, you're not factually incorrect.
I'm not.
You're not factually incorrect.
I am correct there. So that's why we've come up with it, to hopefully bring you guys a hilarious insight into, us, but the world of fitness, what we do, how we can help you. We're going to try and do various different topics each week to focus on so many different things, because there are so many different things that impact female fitness, women, health, mental health. We've both experienced various different degrees of health, physical, mental, so we'll bring our own experiences. We've worked with hundreds, thousands of clients that we can bring their experiences into it as well. And And with any luck, hopefully just help a few people.
Yeah.
If not make them laugh.
Even if it just helps one person, then I mean, that's great.
And I think, like you said before, there's so many things that we wish people knew, women knew, we
and
knew.
Things that I wish I knew.
Yeah.
From being a teenager. There's a lot of things that I wish that I knew, that I obviously know now, but if younger Sam knew those things, just how much better off I would be right now at the age of 32. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So if we can bring something to someone that maybe they didn't already know, or maybe they did already know it, but actually they've never really put it into practice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what we're here for. Fit as a Fanny, to help you and your fannies get fitter. Yes.
She made that up on the spot.
I really did, and I'm really proud of it.
I did sign off on it, just FYI.
I'm really proud of it.